So why don't we go ahead and call the order at 5:06? If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will go right on to item C, which is public comment. So we will offer both in-person and virtual. Public comment does not look like we have anybody with us today in person, so we'll go ahead and open it up for virtual public comment. If you do wish to speak, just make sure you raise your hand, and Devin can make sure that you're able to do so.
We're all set.
All set? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Move right on to item D, minutes. Could I have a motion to approve the attached September 18th, 2024 minutes?
Motion.
Second. All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item E, correspondence received 9/20/24 to 10/11/2024. We did not have anything included in our agenda packets for this meeting, but I always take the opportunity to remind those who listen with us as well as listen to recordings later to make sure that they use our contact form that is on our webpage. Please, by all means, still available for use for anybody on questions, comments, thoughts, anything they'd like to share with us, and we'll get response back to you in a timely fashion. So we will move on to presentations before we do reports tonight. So this is the first presentation tonight is FHS FF&E design elements. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll just let you kind of jump through it. I don't have a controller or anything, so we've met with the building people or the furniture, the FF&E committee, subcommittee for the building committee, to discuss the central office furniture. We've done a little back and forth. We had a pretty limited budget, but we were able to find ways to reuse some of the newer existing furniture in order to make it work for this, and we just squeaked in underneath the budget. So tonight, I just want to show you what the result of that is. There's a lot of redundancies, so I'm going to probably breeze through it pretty quickly. It's mostly just office furniture, and for the most part, it's just similar to what you have here already, what you have here in your main office and your counseling offices as well. So let's just jump right in. The furniture plan, I just kind of put this up there for people if you need to have any general reference. I think most of you are probably familiar with it. But we outfitted all of the offices as well as the Board of Ed conference room. We have another larger conference room. And there's also a group work area there in the center so that you can have kind of collaboration, but still behind closed doors for a little bit of containment there. And then to the left of that, you'll see there are a couple of group work areas. One is considered basically a hoteling station. And the other one is like a standing height station, similar to what you have now, but at a more comfortable height. So that you can have collaboration there. There will be a monitor above that as well. And then there's just a couple little lounge pieces in there so that if people want to just kind of hang out and have little conversations there, they can do that as well. We don't cover the coaches' offices in this budget. It'll be under a different umbrella because it falls under the high school, and I'll get you guys a quote for that so that you can bring it to the next finance committee to get approved on that. There's not a lot in it, so. We also have in here the IT offices. That is systems furniture, very basic layout of systems furniture that Matt worked out with the people from Interscape to figure out a good configuration for them. And they also have a center table there where they can, do their work, collaborate, work on their computers and do whatever they need to do there. And there's also a break room. So that is pretty much it in a nutshell. So let's just kind of jump right into the furniture. This is your reception area outside. When you first come into the vestibule, we'll have a couple of waiting chairs there. And then when you come into the reception area, there'll be a few more as well. You're gonna have a receptionist workstation there. And this, of course, is the same furnishings as I mentioned before that you have in your main office. Next. We're looking at Kathy's office here, superintendent's office. She'll have a little bit more upscaled furniture. And this is just gonna give her ample room for storage. It is an adjustable height station, so she can be comfortable. She'll have a boat-shaped meeting table and some guest chairs in here, as well as a few lounge pieces. Next. This is a typical U-shaped workstation. We'll have a couple of these in the project, actually. This is in Dan's office. This is also similar to the one that's in the reception area. And there'll also be an additional bookcase in here, as well as some of the other offices, along with a meeting table. Next. This typical L-shaped office, similar setup, just less work surface. Next. And then this is the hoteling station that I was talking about, and the collaboration station. The hoteling station will have these little mobile pedestal files that will each have their own key, so that if you have somebody who's working here short term, they'll have a place to kind of stash their stuff. People can swap out. It makes it really easy. You don't have to worry about assigning people offices and things like that. It's a pretty common practice these days in offices to do this when you have transient people coming through. You can see the little lounge pieces that we have in there. There's just a couple of those with a little coffee table in between them. And this will be like a working height, but not a full bar height tabletop with some stools that have foot rings. Next. And then we have our break room, kind of enough said. It's just easy to keep clean furniture. Next. And then the Board of Ed room and the conference room. These are mobile tables. 4 of the tables that are in the Board of Ed room will have power in them so that you can plug into the floor outlets if you need to use them. And 2 of the tables in the conference room will have power in them as well, but they will be mobile. Each of the conference rooms will be getting a flag stand with a real full-size flag. I can get you the state contract information for getting a full-size one for here if you need it. So, since I had to do it for this.
Yeah.
Next. I think that's it. Oh, one more. Oh yeah, the group work room. It's a small table for kind of working behind closed doors. And then you also have there's a credenza in here as well. Next. The IT workstations. This is what the configuration is going to look like. Like I said, this is a very basic layout. It's not anything super ritzy. It is very affordable workstations, and they will have power in the base so that the guys will have ample, or the crew will have ample access to the power and data that they would need for their operations. Next. So this is our schedule right now. Tonight, of course, we're hoping to get approval on the furniture. Next week on the 21st, there is a Board of Ed meeting where I'll be presenting the same, hoping to get approval then. And then we'll need to get our sign off so that on October 30th, we can go to OSCGNR for the PCR to get approval from them. And then we're looking at late November, early December, so the town can issue purchase orders. We don't need to do a bid situation. We intentionally wanted, because we already kind of knew what we were working with, and it's all state contract. So we thought it's just a lot easier to go on state contract. You don't have to go through the whole process. We don't have to go through the VE trying to figure out, like, whose stuff is equal to what. And the pricing right now on state contract is pretty fair. And as long as we purchase before the end of the year, we have locked in pricing, so we should be good. Then we're looking at April 25th, or April of 2025 rather, for our substantial completion. And May of 25 would be when the new furniture gets installed. And then after that, then your existing furniture and your people will be moving over with their stuff. Next. Just one more slide. And here's our budget. we had a budget allotted, 182, oh, sorry, 189, no, you're right, 182,615, I'm reading it backwards. And we came out at 181,970. So like I said, we just squeaked in underneath it, so we don't have much of a contingency, but we don't anticipate anything drastic since it is state contract. It's pretty predictable. So that's about it. I just need to find out if people approve, if anyone has any questions. Comments?
Yep, before we do that, because I confused us this evening, and this is actually item H5 that on our agenda item, so I'm gonna actually ask for the motion, so then we'll open it up for discussion. So we approval, and Kim, then we'll come to you to do your presentation. I apologize, that was 100% my fault. So could I have a motion to approve the FF&E specifications and cost estimate for state project number 052-007BE, Farmington Public School Central Office, Phase 2 of 3, in the amount not to exceed $181,970 to be purchased under state contracts 24 PSX 0116AA and 15 PSX 0041.
Motion.
Second.
All right, now we'll open this up for discussion or any additional questions anybody might have based on the presentation that we just received. Any thoughts, questions?
Is this gonna go with Kim's presentation?
Yeah, oh, no, right, Kim, it's a little different. Your presentation is gonna focus more on educational space.
Very
Yeah.
different.
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't sure if those like designs, so. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So did we buy on the same state contract as well for the high school?
We bid it for the high school because we had a lot of items in that package that were not available in state contract.
Okay.
That's why we did it that way. The vendor who supplied the furniture for the offices here is the same one that we're gonna be buying from state contract, through on the state contract for this project.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, thoughts?
Just quick, just on my end, I
Yeah.
guess, I know there was other meetings and background conversations. I just want to make sure that the central office people are on board and just kind of your take on.
Yeah, so we've had
Kim
many
works very
conversations.
closely
with Susan and, I think I've said this before, we've experimented with lots of different furniture over the last 10 years. So, and Kim has always been, the expert in that area. So she really has taken the lead here at FHS with Susan and at central office. Yeah.
Just need to hear from you guys.
And Sam has also been pretty heavily involved as well, and even Matt operating the background over there.
Yeah. All right. That's it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Excellent, thank you very much. All right, so we will actually move right back to our presentation item. And now I will turn it over to Kim for the design elements for the high school discussion.
Thanks, Megan.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's really sort of an honor to present to you because I just am filled to the brim with gratefulness for all of the work that you've done over these many, many months to, make this beautiful building come true for us. And now that we've been here for a few weeks, it's even more amazing when you walk around with students in it. So I thought, my purpose in coming here this evening is to maybe reflect back to you the impact of the decisions that you made along the way, in collaboration with educators and architects and designers. Thinking more about, how those decisions really make a difference for students. How a building itself is related to learning. So I will also tell you that in these last couple of days, we've had some visitors here. So we've had 80 people, approximately maybe 75 people from across the country and Canada visiting us because, we belong to this deeper learning network. And it was so special to be able to have this event in this new space as well. And people walked around really in awe, noticing how, you know, the students that they got to see and the teachers that were here, they interacted with teachers and students, were just remarking on how much the building has made a difference in their professional lives as adults or their learning lives as students. So it's really, we haven't yet fully realized all the amazing things about it, but just in the few short weeks, you can see such a difference. So the next slide with the rainbow on it almost looks like Photoshopped, but it's not. It's a real photo. You've probably seen it before. You know, I spoke at Convocation this year to all of our teachers. Kathy aptly named this year the year of celebration. We have so many things to celebrate, the high school certainly being the pinnacle of that celebration. And so I, again, wanted, as teachers walked around, for them to really be looking with close eyes at, you know, what are you seeing? Yes, you're seeing beautiful spaces, but what was the intentionality behind those spaces? So that's what I thought I would say a few words about this evening with all of you. Certainly we began and we always lead with, you can go to the next slide, our core documents. So throughout this process for 10 years, we've been talking about how will a high school help us to fully realize our vision of the global citizen and what we hope and dream for our students. And the equity framework is side by side there because when we just want to remind ourselves all the time that we're talking about all students, not some of our students, but all students walking into school every day, feeling like this is a place where I belong. This is a place where people care about me and I can, you know, really pursue my interests and my talents. So there's a great deal of research really about the impact of the learning environment. There's actually a book called The Third Teacher that talks about how, you know, you have your parents as your primary teachers, your teachers in school, but the building itself is like a teacher. The building itself gives messages to kids every day about what we value, what we care about, and the fact that we do really, you know, want them to succeed and that we're thinking of them. And I've heard over and over again, and I know Russ could share the same sentiment, that kids feel like, oh my gosh, you know, this is for us. Like this town really cares so much about our experiences. I would say, you know, I've done a little sort of learning about all of this. And when you think back briefly in history, more than half of the schools in the United States were built in the middle of the 20th century. And architecture at the time, you know, in any era really reflects what we know and understand at the time and what our values are. When you think back to where we were in education in the 50s and 60s, we were educating a population of students for factory type work. You know, we were of the mind that we needed to educate the masses of students, and we could do that in nice, neat little batches grouped by age. We could put them in these little cubicles with a hallway, very efficient, and that we were doing what we knew we needed to do, and it was successful for the time. But now we know that students in this generation are moving into a world very different. I don't need to tell all of you that in your work and your adult experiences, but that is what our vision of the global citizen represents. It's, you know, the 3 R's are definitely still needed. It's necessary, but not sufficient to be prepared for life and citizenship in these middle of the 21st century. But it starts with, you can go to the next slide. It starts with basic needs. So as educators, we learn about a theorist, Abraham Maslow, who has a hierarchy of needs to help us know and think more about how important it is that we attend first to physical and psychological safety. Like, until you feel like you are intellectually safe, you're physically safe in a building, parts of your brain are not attending to learning. They're sort of attending to protecting yourself, both maybe in class from other students or in hallways from other students, or ways in which you don't feel like you belong here, or just simply in our old building where we had, you know, buckets in the hallway and rain dripping through the ceiling and too many entrances and exits. And this is the generation that's growing up seeing things out there happening in the world that maybe we didn't think about, but kids do now. So in this new space, there has been such incredible attention to security, safety, comfort. And by that, I'm talking about, you know, the air quality standards that you thought about, the sound attenuation in spaces to help with acoustics, just all of the ways in which we want to eliminate that from kids' psyches when they're here to learn. We don't want them to be worried about their own safety. So next is this concept of biophilic design. I don't know, it's probably not a word that you see often, but I'm sure you can guess that it's talking about the connection between a person's sense of rest and calm and ability to just relax in the learning environment, because views outdoors, connections with the outdoors, connections with nature have that impact on your nervous system. We all probably go for walks at times, and you know, you go for a walk and you feel better, and then you can come back and learn again. But when you walk around, and when I take visitors now around into the art space and some of these classrooms where you can just imagine being a student in that room, and for a few minutes, you might be working on a piece of writing, but you look up and you look out to the trees and you see the sky, and you know, you can feel the sun on you, and you're sitting in a space. And in parts of our old building, you just really couldn't do that. And I think it's not something that any student might, you know, consciously be aware of at all times. But even at lunch today, I sat with a group of students, and the visitors said, "What do you love about your new school?" And these girls sitting there, the first word they said was all the light. We have spaces where we can just look out the window. And so it really makes such a difference. And we're working on in all of our schools at getting teachers to think it's okay to go outside for a little bit. So we have like nice little patios and courtyards where people can do that. So the next thing I would say really speaks to the work that Susan and I did a lot of together, thinking about the furniture itself and how, you know, research tells us that movement increases blood flow to the brain. It energizes your thinking. It's a way in which, you know, you think about that sort of sleepiness you get from sitting in a chair for too long. Well, if you've got a choice in a classroom to go sit on a stool, or maybe stand for a while at a table, or just even swiveling and movement, or the chairs in our classrooms have a little bounce to them. So even these, I think, have a little bounce to them. So, you know, you're getting that little bit of movement. We're learning as teachers that fidgeting and movement is not a bad thing, that we shouldn't be having kids just hands on the desk, sitting still, facing front, that, you know, the more they have opportunities to move around and interact with each other, we're really stimulating cognitive development. We worked alongside, for a few of us, with a researcher whose name is Dr. Dieter Breidecker. He's a German a kinetic scientist who says things like, you know, bodies in motion, brains in motion. So there's a lot of opportunity for kids to, even if they're not in their classrooms, to be, you know, quietly doing a little, I'll see classes, like take a little walk in a loop down the hall and go back to class. And on that walk, they're talking about what's going on in class or what they're about to work on. So all of the ways in which this building supports movement is really connected to learning. The next slide is about adaptability, and I do know how much you must have thought about this concept of multi-purpose spaces, places in the building that could be used for many different things, movable walls, you know, the black box that today and yesterday we used to host our visitors, but tomorrow it could be a theater production, it could be a guest speaker. So thinking really about all the ways that spaces can be used sets you up for the future. So we talk a lot about future-ready schools, and I really think that this is an incredibly future-ready school, because as much as we think we know how learning should go today, you know, 20 years from now, there'll be other things that we'll want to do. And we have, I think, a lot of capacity to move the furniture around or go to a different place or put a class in a different space, reorganize the STEM lab. Maybe it's not STEM, it's something else now. So a lot of adaptability in how the spaces are designed and the things that we consciously did not build in fixed ways. And I think about that. I don't know if everyone's been to Westwoods, but when we designed Westwoods, we had different thinking. And so in every classroom at Westwoods, we have this fixed counter. You can't move it. It's a countertop. It's 10 feet long. It's 4 feet wide. It's right in the middle of the classroom. Then we have cubbies in the classroom. So at the time we thought that was, you know, what was going to be cutting edge learning. And now if you just want to rip those countertops out because they take up so much space and they're not flexible at all. So when we were thinking about this, like everything is on wheels, everything can move. I think that's probably the next slide, the idea of adaptability. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think I was talking about things on wheels when I had this slide out before, and, you know, things can move easily. Teachers can reconfigure the classroom in 2 minutes, push all the furniture out of the way, reconfigure the furniture for whatever the lesson is for the day. Simplicity, this idea, I think, hits people right away when they walk in the building, how orderly and simple and beautiful the space is, the colors, the patterns, the angles. There's just beautiful symmetry in all over the spaces here. And again, as much as we admire it for its beauty, it really does have an impact on your sense of calm when you're in the space. I don't know how many people have heard of Marie Kondo, right? The orderly person who helps us say, clean out your closets and take things off the walls and, you know, free yourself from the clutter that just kind of, you don't even realize it, but it's impacting your ability to just focus on what you need to do. So different from when I started teaching. You know, I was a kindergarten teacher and I spent weeks decorating that classroom before the children came in, making sure everything looked adorable and cute and, you know, colorful. And not to say we don't want color, but the students didn't make any of that. It was me. It was like my room, and you are invited to be in my space. Here, we want to say, we've created this very simple building, and now it's your opportunity to make it your own, to put student work up and really make the building reflect who the kids are that are in it. Next slide really just again talks about gathering in general, just all the different opportunities and ways that we've designed in flexible spaces for large group gatherings, small group gatherings, individual, like these little pods right here. We have, you know, a range of learners here who learn in different ways. And I see, it's just amazing to see, like, kids will just spontaneously sit on those little booths outside the library, the little, we call it like the library porch. And so their friends walk by and they sit down, and now you see Chromebooks open and you see them talking. And that spontaneous collaborative learning environment is what we were hoping for. I see teachers sitting out in the down Main Street in a high top table, just working there. I'll talk to teachers. I just love working here. It's sort of like a Starbucks, you know. I just like being sort of doing my work, but I like to have the hustle bustle around me. And because kids see adults working like that, you're really, I think, making we're developing new kinds of relationships between kids and their teachers. Kids see their teachers working hard. They're not, you know, away in a closed room where they never see that. They're out there working on something. They have those spontaneous conversations, teacher to teacher conversations in those half round couches with, like, a team will say, hey, let's have our team meeting out there today. So I think teachers feel incredibly respected. And, you know, Russ could tell you how often they say, like, this is my best year ever teaching. I've never felt this good about, you know, walking into work every day, feeling like I have, you know, multiple ways that I can accomplish what I need to accomplish and places to do it. The teacher workspaces also, teachers love them. You know, everybody wants some element of their own personal space for their own things. But, you know, as you know, teachers here don't own their classrooms. So classrooms will stay in a more, a flexible way. You never know what class will be in that classroom. So you can't decorate it all. It'll remain an open and flexible space. And then teachers can have their own little private space as well. So there's that back and forth. Learning on display, I think, is the next one. Yes. So I think that was a fundamental idea right from the start when we were thinking about the design of this high school, because we have a learning model that is all about kids trying things and testing ideas. And, you know, we have like a not yet culture. It's not a culture of take a test, get a grade, move on, take the next test. It's a culture of, well, okay, so what do you need to learn differently or more? So there's a lot of opportunity for kids to put their thinking on the whiteboards and put projects they're working on but not done yet in the showcase, and put a question like, what do you think? So we always want kids to have that growth mindset. You know, I'm learning, that's why I'm here, I'm a learner. So these beautiful items and opportunities like lovely showcases and whiteboards, they're not just, oh, well, that's what schools always have. They're purposeful here. They connect to the model that we have for that like learner mindset, both in terms of teachers and students. We want kids to look in the windows into a classroom and what are they doing in that STEM makerspace? You know, what are they doing in that art studio? Oh, that looks fun. Maybe I'll take that class next semester because now I get to see a little bit of it. It's not behind closed doors. And then second to last, just this idea of trust and agency and independence. We are working with high school students here. We're sending them off to college or work or whatever their next step might be. And they need to begin to learn how to conduct themselves according to like the culture of a space. People said to us, aren't you worried about that railing, that balcony? Aren't kids just gonna throw things over the balcony and all that? Well, yeah, it could happen, but we wanna start from a stance of trust and start from a stance of, you're 16. It's time to be able to, act in ways that respect those around you and yourself. So inviting kids, and that's what I see anyway. I don't know, Russ, if you hear it too, but they're so amazed that people do trust them with, spaces to just be spontaneously hanging out with friends, that they just, they behave. They rise to the level of expectations. This picture on the right is what we're calling the senior summit. So it's a special area on the second floor where only seniors can go. So again, you're trying to work on like independence and growing up and being given privileges as you get older. So that's their special space to hang out with their friends. So we're just really finding that the more students see each other out in hallways doing the right thing, the more students do the right. Like that's the norm of the school, and social norms are more visible here than they used to be in the old school. They're not like little nooks and places to hide where you can get into trouble and nobody can see you and then you get caught and all this. Everything is out in the open. So it's really helping with attendance. I don't think I mentioned that. Russ shared with us recently that even in the first 6 weeks of school, we've seen a big improvement in attendance. It's just a place kids want to be. So lastly, I know you, as a building, oh, no, that's not last, sorry. So we're working more on signage. We need some more signage. So far we have places in the building where we're really celebrating Riverhawk Pride and our shared identity and spirit. So those are all important things to high school kids too. We all remember our being proud of whoever we were in our high schools, what an impact that has. And so those places that we do have some signage are great. We're looking to probably on some of the new tack boards in the hallway, putting up more things that relate to the vision of the global citizen and our core beliefs. So you'll see more of that around. And then certainly, it's only been a few weeks of school, so more of the showcases and places where we can share student work will start to reflect who's in the building. And so finally, this idea of tradition and innovation, living side by side, literally side by side, is I think such a unique set of attributes in this town. Been here a long time. And this idea that we always celebrate and honor our past. We recognize the people who came before us, the athletes, the champions of the classes before us. But we're always simultaneously looking to the future and thinking about, what's next? What do our kids need next? Are we setting them up for their future? And certainly this building is an incredible symbol of that. So that's all I was going to share with you this evening. Just, all the amazing things that this building has done for our kids in a short amount of time and the generations of kids who will come after this group and really, make their mark in this space as well. So I don't know if anyone has any other questions you wanted to ask me, but I will just put a shameless plug in for the fact that when you see such an impact on kids, you start to look at your other buildings, with a more discerning eye. This is a committee that will never end. So you all need to stay right. Didn't know it when you signed up, but. Yeah. But thank you so much.
This is great, Kim. I mean, really puts some perspective, I think, on the work. It's been so many, we mentioned earlier, years and steps and conversations in the making, but to see it all come together
I know.
and to see the impact is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And I have to say, there's part of me, even from a professional side, I hope we return to something like this in the professional world, because we've lost it in the virtual
Yeah.
environment. And
Right.
there's something to be said in the environment that you go into. It
Right.
should matter.
Mm.
So we've lost the collaboration. I think we have it. I think this is probably personal. And I'm not saying a flexible work arrangement is wonderful and it has tons of benefits, but there is a reason why buildings like this exist. And I think it's good for kids to see the benefits that come out of that. And hopefully they take that forward with them wherever they go to just understand the impacts of those things.
Right.
I think I think it can be very detrimental, I think, in the professional world. Yeah. Yeah.
And even the long-term impact we're yet to see of work from home in so many
It's just-
industries now. I mean, it might feel for a time like, wow, this is great. I can get my laundry done. I can take my
Exactly.
dog for a walk, but such isolation.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yet to be seen, I guess.
Yeah. But we do the same things in meetings where people will come in and say, to get people to kind of change their perspectives on things, physically move your position in the
yeah.
room, get up and move a seat to the right. And let's try it again, because even physically moving your body or your line of sight
Yeah.
makes a difference. So all the things that you're teaching here in this building are all things that will transition. Everybody know that. But it is meaningful. So beyond the immediate impacts, I think there are life skills in addition that they're gonna carry forward. And that's the difference. And we talked about a facility, we have all these, but now you see it in
Right.
conjunction with, it's not just a building.
Right, for sure. Our architects were so great to
I
work
know.
with. They
Yeah.
listened to us, and really took the feedback, and it's been such a great collaborative process.
And Kim had done this presentation as our keynote convocation because it has implications in all our schools. We have purchased flexible furniture. So just encouraging our educators not only to understand the why behind all of it, but also to utilize it in the ways that they're intended to be utilized. But our students weren't in the building. So you really have this presentation, you have a bit of the benefit of our students now are here. They've been here a few weeks. And the impact has been pretty profound on them and on the adults.
Yeah.
Just feeling such gratitude, like Kim said, to this community, feeling as if they've been honored, by this building being built for them, and recognizing kind of the science behind the learning environments. Like, you really thought about this. You didn't just put a building together quickly. It was years and years of planning and different experts that we had consulted with over the years, crossing our fingers that someday this day would come. And so just, that has been really special, and it has been a year so far of really celebrating our community, both external and internal. And for me, having known the students that are here since kindergarten or preschool, and seeing them and, talking to them and just what an amazing experience they're having in this building. So it's been really special. And do you want to add anything more?
Not much more to add than everything that's already been said, but and I've said it here multiple times, and it does still feel like a dream. I think every day I park in the same spot and I walk up to the building every day and feel the same wow. And I think I have shared with some of you, in different places. I was walking with a student the other day and he said, "Did you know there's wood on the ceiling?" And I've been here for a month and I just noticed it. So I've been here since the beginning. It's beautiful. And it's just like these things, decisions that were made here, that were supported by our community, that there are big things, there are small things, but all of them contribute to just an amazing place that people feel the same way that I do when I walk from my car to the building. Everyone else feels the same way too. So there's no measure for that. And people told me like culture and climate, it's a win, culture and climate, but I don't think I ever could have imagined the positive overall impact on adults and students in the buildings.
Just gonna chime in because I have two kids in this building, and from a parent perspective, obviously checking the power school and asking how the day is, and all the high school friends coming over, and they love it. And I've talked to Russ at open house. It's like it just feels different, and everything has been positive since the day they walked in here. I feel like the group of high school kids ranging from freshmen to seniors that I interact with, they're just more mature, more positive, like there's a different vibe that has come from them. And I don't think it's from just growing here. I know high school kids too. It's different.
Yeah.
And I do equate it to their new learning environment and the building. So that's from my parent lenses.
I should share too, we had the family open house here to a person, every single parent, anyone, the guardian that I talked to, they all said, "I cannot believe my child gets to go to school here." That was every single person I talked to said that. So it's very cool.
We wanted to go to school here.
Yeah.
Gonna go back.
And then they had to kick us out after.
I did have to kick you out.
You did.
Any other last comments, thoughts?
Speaking from a design perspective, it's wonderful to hear the feedback. Because very often we have to move on to our next project and we may get a few murmurings here and there, but it's usually not quite this cohesive. And I really appreciate your presentation, Kim, and appreciate all the feedback that we're getting from you guys. I understand you had a good conversation with Taisu the other day, and he was very impressed with that. So I think it's just been a wonderful experience, and it makes me feel good because it feels like this is why I do this.
Yeah.
This is the reason I do this, and it's nice to see the reward once in a while,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, good, all set. Thank you, Kim.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate the time, yeah. All right, so we will move right on to reports for this evening. G1 chair report, nothing specific tonight. We'll get into some additional details. I think we'll talk about the open house and communication subcommittee a little bit later on. So we'll move right on to town council liaison report. I don't have anything to. Nothing specific. Excellent. We'll move right on to Board of Education liaison report.
Well, we have a meeting on Monday, which we will present the FF&E for central office. But they received the same presentation that you received at the last meeting. So that was really nice for them as well to kind of get that understanding of the why behind all of these learning spaces and how thoughtfully everything was done. So I guess that's the update.
Any questions? All right, we'll go on to 1928 Building Committee liaison report.
Thank you, Meg. As a result of questions from the interested contractors, the opening bid date was pushed back to October 3rd. Kat confirmed that all the information has been received. We have a meeting on Tuesday. We'll be taking all that under consideration, hopefully acting on it.
There's a nice update in the newsletter, 1928 as well, so that was nice to get that. that update. Do you want to plug your brick?
Oh, sure. Buy a brick fundraiser, please, for the Steve Bills Foundation. It's still open. Please do.
All right, excellent. Any questions for Chris?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go on to architect report.
So, in the last few weeks, I mean, I was, in the building and, I basically inspected all the completed, items, like punch list items. So this was for area A, B, C, and some parts of D. And, I've been reviewing closeout submittals for the high school. These are the O&M manuals and, warranties and things. And also, RFIs and submittals for the central office. And we also worked with the Musco Lighting Rep and also Coronan. We put together a package and that's a PR for the tennis court lighting. So that was sent to ONG last week for pricing. Any questions?
Questions? All right, thank you. All right, construction manager report.
Just to quickly go through high school, the auditorium was turned over on the 25th for the parent open house on the 26th. And tonight there'll be a concert in the auditorium. I have to go. Hopefully this meeting's not too long. Monteith Drive, the rebuilds has been completed and paved. They'll work their way up to the upper parking lots. That paving will take place next week to turn over more parking for the school. Canopy glass was, the installation was completed today. Permanent power for the football field lighting is complete as well. As the case with the electrical conduits that sit underneath the parking lot, to get those parking lots completed, we did some of that work, time and material to get the conduits for those lightings. AV commissioning is taking place. The supply chain issue that we're still tracking is the permanent generator. We're coordinating that for the school holiday for Diwali. That's a long weekend, so we're going to be reviewing the logistics this coming week at the OAC meeting. Area F Central Office construction is roughly 15% complete. Mass demolition is complete for the high school. They're currently working on slab cuts for under slab utilities. Parking lots, roofing is complete in central office. Foundations have been placed for that little new addition. And interior framing is in progress. Tennis courts, they started framing out for the tennis court slabs. All the vapor barrier is installed and the concrete will be placed next Tuesday and Wednesday. And then that concrete will cure and then they'll start on the post tensioning. Drone shots were shared last week and I think he'll be showing a quick video on that. And side of that, we'll review the application for payment later on in the meeting. Any questions?
We'll do, we'll do the drone footage and communications a little bit later. I think it'll be interesting for everybody to see that. We can pull that up from the website. We're gonna do a little bit of a change to the agenda in the interest of some time for Russ. So Russ, next is project management contingency report. I don't know if you want to do anything there, and then we'll go right to change orders.
Sure.
And then do it that way. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
One big thing, no, it is. Do you want me to come up to the
Yeah.
front?
Because I can't turn that.
I'm not sitting there, I'll be there for an hour. One thing we got into late this afternoon was the price for the bleachers. So that's one of the biggest things I want to talk about. We're looking at $1.2 million for the bleachers, which we originally estimated to be 1.6, 1.7. So that's a very good number. We don't have all the paperwork ready for approval tonight. It was a little too late. So I'm going to ask that we can do either a virtual meeting or this first November meeting. To go over that change order. We'll send that information out ahead of time so everyone gets it and can review it. But I was very pleased with that number. Worked with Lucio and G Sub, their site contractor, a lot on it, going through with Tyson Ken's drawings, getting everything that we wanted. It includes a new press box, which Matt Martirelli was jumping for joy on that. So that was good. That was a good number to come in with. I know it's a lot of money, but for the sake of the whole project, I think it's gonna really. We've been working on different change orders. What else? Tennis court lighting, we've been going back and forth on. We kept that, the lighting itself is a separate number from the tennis courts. We're still wrapping up PR 45, R6 or 7, whatever number we're on now. Revision for that. That includes all the site grading and stuff. We had one change, we cut some trees down, a lot of dead trees on the hill. That went up to the upper field, and then we're gonna move a lot of that extra fill in there. We're gonna look at it a little more. Our surveyor's gonna take some grades. We may not have to fill as much in the front of the ethel, like putting fill on the back here, which will be a good thing. Keep that one less area to mess up and make dirty. Other than that, financially, you can see we're still good, even when you take the 1.2 for the bleachers. The only thing that doesn't include is the conduit and the power to get the new conduit and data power to get up to the press box. So I don't expect that to be too crazy, maybe $100,000 at most. But that'll get all brand new wiring as well. So we're still under the original estimate that we were thinking it was gonna cost, so that's good. We have, what do we have? 3, 6, 7 change orders that we processed this month.
You can walk through and rest of them, we'll open up the motion later.
The first one, so as you know, the change orders follow the same process. They go to the decision-making group. I go through them first, work things out with Nelson and his team. And then we send it to the decision-making group, get that done. The first one is a motorized door. Hold on, you got like. Oh, and the other page, I skipped that one. No problem. So yeah, we had to modify some gas piping for the final install of boilers and everything for the building. We had to change around some gas piping for the system. This was an $18,420 ad coming out of the construction manager contingency. Thank you, Nelson. What one are we going to now? All right, we are the motorized door operators. This is to add, so as you've all been in the auditorium, there are 2 doors on each side of the auditorium. The outer doors had a motorized operator. The interior doors did not. They were wired for it, but didn't have the operator. And talking with the building official, fire marshal, made sense since the people who are coming to the auditorium are, people like my mother will come and need her cane and walk and wheelchairs. Both doors now have an operator, so you hit them and everything will open up, make it easier to get in. That cost was $33,000 coming out of our owner's contingency. Relocate the audiovisual and wireless access points in the gym. This is above the step seating from the final configuration where the seating was put in. We had to relocate a couple of these items in order to make them work and accessible. That number was $44,960. GMP increase for utilities. Nelson originally submitted an increase for about $35,000. And we would have been having to come back pretty much every month for an increase. So I talked to him and said, how much do you think it would take to get us through the remainder of the job? We went through everything, looked at our history and utility expenses, and just a big job winding down. So we put in a not to exceed at that point $150,000, so we don't need to come back every month with a new item, an additional item. It's similar to the INTL costs that we've done to increase their costs, so it's the same thing. And this is coming out of the construction contingency. Retaining wall. So if you drive back to the back parking lot, to the teacher parking lot, you notice a pretty good slope right there. It's too steep to leave as is. From the grading, the elevation that we have of the building and the roadway. Went through, we had a couple options. We added to this, remember we added a design service for Tyson Kim. Come up, so you can do a design. Worked with a couple different proprietary wall systems and came up with the one that was the cheapest and easiest to get in. And this is for $94,853. It's probably gonna be about 80 feet long and about 6 feet tall. All said and done. It'll have a fence on the top of the lead. Should fall off. Choose to go over, that's on them. Okay, this is $43,175 change order for additional labor and an elevator operator. As you recall, we were coming to the end of the line. We needed additional help moving the furniture either from the old building or into the new building. From the deliveries, worked out very well. Nelson was able to secure those laborers. And the elevator operator had to be in place because of a contract without the elevator being approved by the state. It can only be operated by a Kone operator. So we had to have that in place. And I have to say, it really helped out. So the laborers really worked. And in about 6 hours, they had more done. And it was
better
crazy.
than the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. It was faster than the elevator. I think the elevator was on slow-mo. It really was, it was terrible, but the laborers carrying the furniture out went faster than the elevator. So it really worked out well. Temporary generator. So this is for the turf field lights. Nobody really knew except Scott Zanetti, who I called and talked to after the fact. The power for the turf field lights came out of the 500 wing and had a step up transformer to go from 208 to 480 3-phase. Once they took that building, shut the power off, took the building down, Matt Martorelli figured out we had no lights. And with 2 weeks to go before our first home game, Nelson and his team worked feverishly to figure out what to do. We got the generator here. This is for the generator cost itself for 3 weeks. They order it, get it here and mobilize, get it out of here. In the meantime, we worked with Ferguson, Nelson subs. We got permanent power from the new building here over to the concession stand and got everything back on. And that, so there'll be another change order coming for about $26,000 for that permanent lighting power cost. But this is just for the temporary generator hookup. And that's coming out of the owner's contingency as well. Sweeper. All right, this is, we purchased a new sweeper. And this, Sam Kilpatrick's gonna give people rides on it later tonight.
Purposely driving by. Mean it or something.
I have a sign being I talked with Sam and going over it with the new tile and all the tile, the original sweeper that they had didn't pick up everything as it should. And this is to purchase a new sweeper for $21,000. That's, I think that's it.
I think there's one under central office.
What are you gonna do?
There's one change order, 168 under central office.
Yeah, I've heard.
The credit.
Oh, the big credit. That's kind of why.
Big credit.
Everything counts.
We're gonna save the bank here,
Actually, it does help for central office.
$525.
We're always saving money.
Yeah, I think-
Central office.
Thanks for saying that.
Yes, yes,
Sitting in
right.
Church on Sunday. $525.
Every dollar.
For a high pressure duct control, they're going through the submittals and realize it's not needed, so it's a credit to the central office area. So the boost in that, you're welcome, thank you. So a credit to the area F. Any questions?
Any questions on any of that? Further detail?
Oh, I'm kind of quick, I apologize, but we've got a lot of things, we still have a lot of things coming. We're working on think the biggest thing will be, we'll be ironing out, CR 45, which is the site credit of the 250,000. The lights for the tennis court is gonna be a big one, probably in the neighborhood of 300,000. That comes up, I'll give you a history and where that, why that jumped up. The greenhouse and the auto shed relocation, that's around $100,000. We're still figuring out where to get the power from. That makes most sense. That'll be coming up. We've got a lot of the infrastructure in already. And it's just a matter of finalizing where that power is gonna get feed power to the greenhouse for the heat and everything. Those are the major ones.
Yeah, I think you covered it.
Yeah. But we're still, and we're doing okay. We're not. Been on other building projects where it was a little different, so we're doing really well.
It's an impressive amount of work. It's still going on.
Yes,
Quite a bit.
sure.
The bleachers, so a little quick thing on the bleachers. Time is kind of the essence of that. We've been working hard and trying to get the pricing done. And the reason is because everybody in the country is, not everybody, but who's ever doing projects or replacing bleachers does it at the same time. You don't want to do it during season, so we're trying to get in and we want to get the PO approved so we can get our order in line in the queue so that we don't interrupt graduation. And we don't interrupt the fall sports, so we only have a basically 6-week window of when we can construct these, and hopefully we can get approval to get that into the queue to get in line for our bleachers to be constructed. So that's the push for that. That's the reason behind it. We've been working very hard. Thanks to Tim, those where we can be, Nelson and his subs and everybody. So that's the essence of having that next meeting.
Yes, we won't cancel for that meeting, so keep that.
And I don't know if it virtually works.
Yeah,
You know, we
yeah,
talked a
I
lot
think-
about a lot. We don't want to do virtual anymore, but they are helping.
Give a big speech on it. I think for that, because I don't think there's other,
No.
unless some other large topic comes up, usually our single topic meetings, we stay for virtual to make it easier.
And one of the things that Nelson's gonna review is, the pay app. I went over it as well. He's made some minor changes to it. Everything's in order there from our end of it, so we're in good shape there, so. Good.
Any additional questions for Russ? Any other clarification? We're not gonna vote right now. We're gonna kind of finish up our agenda. We'll come back, we'll do our invoices and no, please don't apologize. It happens. I think we are all good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so keep that in mind as we will finish up our reports and then we'll open up the motion for the full invoice package and go from there. All right, so we'll move right on to owner's rep and manager report. Oh, you have it. Sorry.
Yeah, Arcadis, Chris was unable to attend, but he did email over just an update, so I'll read that. In terms of move management, he says the 1928 building has been cleared of furniture, in order for that project to be a standalone project. You'll see some more of that in here. A proposal for Meyer, the mover, to complete that portion, the 1928 is on the agenda for approval, as well as an invoice for the work they actually did. He says the wrestling mats will need to be moved once the mat hoists are installed. I think that's just the last remaining bit of FF&E movement for the move manager that would need to be done. And then still waiting on several minor new furniture items from new vendors. So very small things that haven't come in yet. In terms of project management, he's just finishing up punch list items, back punching and going throughout the building. And then central office, he says progress visits continue along the month with monthly schedule review. So moving along on everything.
All right, we will move right on to G9, which is communications subcommittee report. So really the big topic of conversation during our communications subcommittee meeting, which was held just prior to this one, was preparations for the open house on October 26th. So Ken, if you want to just give us a quick run, just some highlights, and then we can talk about
Yes,
Sign
so we started advertising for this event last Friday, and as of this morning, all slots were filled for all of the tours. So we actually opened up additional slots for each tour because we do have enough student volunteers that'll be able to lead those tours. So at the end of the day, about 700 plus people will be able to go through the building. I anticipate those slots will be filled pretty soon, because we have another newsletter hitting this week advertising for the event. So very popular event. We'll see if we still continue to get more excitement. We'll talk about another, maybe in the spring, later date, doing another one of these types of open houses. But very positive response from the community so far. So committee members, I've sent out a sign-up sheet for volunteering at this to kind of help us with check-in and getting things moving. The students will actually be doing the tours themselves. We'll have 3 tour groups go every half hour. So it's really just gonna be check-in and helping things move along. We will be doing a presentation. Everybody will go into the auditorium. There'll be a brief presentation, kind of modeled after what Kim talked about today, to give everybody, have them start thinking about, you know, the deliberate intention behind the design and the spaces, and then they actually can see the physical spaces. So we'll do that. The students will take them off on the tour, and everything will end at the gym. And Russ can talk about this a little bit. The students have been involved in this portion.
Yeah, so we have a student leadership group. We call it the Student Leadership Leadership Symposium. It's made up of leaders of clubs and activities and athletics from across our building. You know, they are really excited. You know, they said when they heard about this, they approached Chris Loomis and myself and said, like, it's really cool. The building is amazing and people would love to see it, but it's even better when kids are in it. So they're really proud of not only the space that they are in, but the stuff that they do in the space. So, you know, what we would like to do is have all of the tours end in the gym. And we have some captains of our athletic teams that will have fun games set up in there. We have right now about 20 clubs and activities that will show off the things that they do for their clubs and activities. We will have the band in the band room. We will have a vocal group in the vocals room. We will have a small production happening in the Black Box Theater. So every time a group goes into these different spaces to check them out, they will see live action of what happens there during the school day. So just some really cool things. This is all like, we didn't go to students and say like, can you do this? They came to us and said, can we do this? Because they are just so proud, like I said, of the building, but also of what they do here every day. So be really cool.
So it's also a good way to end too, so you're not kicking people, you know, like you only are here in this building for X amount of time, you know, the tours will bring them to the gym, they get to see everything that's in there, and then the next groups will start. So it'll be a really nice end to the tour. And that's really it. So sign up for your shift.
Yeah, I'll send another reminder out to everybody as well. But it's super important that we are there to support students for the work that they're doing, and just, I think it's good for us to interact with the community so that they're aware of the efforts from this committee, which I think obviously has been very important. And, you know, it's good to get back a little bit more.
That's the October 26th one, right?
Yes, October 26th.
So that's a Saturday. There's 2 shifts out there. I think very little setup, but some cleanup afterwards where we added some time on for that.
Yeah, just had, the shift starts like a half hour before the event actually starts, just to make sure we're there, we're ready, and then a little half hour at the end for that shift, just to make sure, you know, if things need to be cleaned up, we have people available. And we'll make sure you have food and
Yeah.
coffee.
The important.
For volunteers.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the majority of our conversation, and obviously, during the subcommittee report, but I'm hoping that we can do the drone footage video, which is very cool. No, but you should clap.
Yeah, it's a very timely video too, because we put it on the website, like, if you can't make it to the open house.
Right.
Here's the inside of the building.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, I mean, just really nice. Just a quick snapshot for people, which I think is great. Yeah. Gonna send it to my family.
Yeah.
It's gonna be done. All right, anything, I don't think there's anything else. Anything else from the communications meeting? I think we need to cover? Got it? Okay. All right, so we will go on financial subcommittee reports. Nothing specific to report out other than obviously, we have done a full review of the invoices and change orders that we are going to discuss and have discussed so far. I don't believe there's anything else, a specific note during our meeting to bring up or discuss. So we will go to financial report, Kat, which I think we have.
Yep, just a quick updated financial report. The only thing that was added is the bill from Chartwell's. That was from the ribbon cutting. That was for the cookies. Some of the cookies that went in about 30 seconds. But everybody loved them. So that was just that bill.
Any questions? No? Okay. All right, so let's move on. We'll continue our conversation on new business. So could I have a motion to approve the following invoice package for Farmington High School as presented?
Motion.
Second.
We will open this up for discussion to go through the first half of the package.
Okay, so the first one on the agenda is TSKP Studios. This is for professional services rendered through the end of September. Just some about construction administration, 42,000, and then work on the site rework amendment for over $22,000 for a total of $64,086.80. Next is O&G's monthly pay-up, so I'll turn it over to Nelson.
The final pay-up, was adjusted down by, roughly 114,000, was reviewed at the professional partners meeting, the sub-finance meeting as well. And the final amount is $1,624,747.87, and we recommend.
All right, next is two invoices from IMTL. This is our materials testing. One is for work that was in August, and the next is the work that was in September. So those, I'm sorry. IMTL is $1,100. That's materials testing reviewed and approved by O&G. The next two are IES, which is commissioning agent. And that is for work, the first one for August and the second one for September. And those are also reviewed and cross-checked and approved by O&G as well. The next invoice on here is for project manager. This is Russ's monthly invoice in the amount of $7,779.20 with his time sheets attached. Arcadis is next on the list. This is in the amount of $37,302.50. This is for work related to the high school project management and move management as well. Then we get into the FF&E and all of those vendors. JT Homes is the first one on here. This is their 5th application. I believe we should get one more based on the amount left on their PO. This is in the amount of $38,552.50 Tom Beebe from Arcadis reviewed this and all materials have been received. Next on the agenda is Meyer. You'll see, like I mentioned, we have a proposal for services that are for move management to get things out of the 1928 building. That was reviewed and approved by the decision-making group. And then this invoice goes against that proposal, in the amount of $30,362. So that was for 1928. The high school furniture out of the 1928 building. Next is Atlas. This invoice is for their monthly work for the abatement and remediation monitoring. This is in the amount of $2,003.40. Sweetwater Sound Holding is next. This is one of our technology vendors. The amount of $4,289, and this has been reviewed by Matt Ross and approved. Everything had been received that was on this invoice. Valley Communication is next. This is in the amount of $5,086.58. This invoice closes out the amount remaining on their PO. So this is the last invoice from them, and reviewed and approved. All materials have been received. The next 3 invoices are for Total Fitness. This is for the fitness equipment that's in the fitness room downstairs. This also closes out all of their PO, so we shouldn't anticipate any more invoices from them, but 3, the first one is $375,000, then $90,875, and then $89,885. Next is WB Mason. They had a pretty large contract for the high school furniture. They made it easy and invoice all of it at once. So this is one and done for them in the amount of $311,685, and that closes out their PO. R&B Enterprises is next. This is for some of our technology, $249,142.58. This also closes out their PO. And everything has been received that is on this invoice. Hilliard is next. There are 3 invoices for them. It's a little confusing on the main page because they have 2 different POs because we awarded them at various times. But both POs are closed out with this, $31,115.57, $12,024.34, and $482.49. So that closes out their POs as well. And that's all the invoices for the high school.
So that's all invoices in addition to the change orders that Russ walked through for us. That's the full package for consideration. Any questions, thoughts, additional clarification on anything we heard about tonight?
Just to remember, what does Hilliard do?
Hilliard, janitorial supplies. I should mention that. They provided the sweeper. That was a different change.
For us now, the sweeper. All right. All right, if there's no questions or thoughts, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll move right on to item H2 can I have a motion to approve the following invoice package for central office as presented?
Second.
Discussion.
The only invoice for here is TSKP Studio. This is their monthly fee for central office professional services rendered through September in the amount of $5,600. And then the only other thing is the change order that Russ reviewed.
Any further discussion, questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we'll go on to H3. Can I have a motion to approve the attached invoice from Power Station Events in the amount of $2,535 for technical services for college information night? Motion?
Second.
Open this one up for discussion.
So this invoice was sent to the decision-making group. This is very similar to 2 items that we had on last month's agenda, where we paid for AV services for convocation and for the ribbon cutting. basically, it was intended to have this event in the auditorium that was not complete and the AV needed to be reworked for the gym. So they approached this decision-making group, and under the same criteria, the decision-making group reviewed and approved that. This is not reimbursable, but we felt it was fair given that the space they were anticipating was not ready and they had AV needs.
Thoughts or questions on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Could I have a motion to approve the attached proposal from William B. Meyer Inc. in the amount of $32,895?
Good.
Discussion?
This is the proposal that I've been talking about from Meyer for additional move services, which is, the school's remaining items that were inside the 1928 building. The decision-making group and the financial subcommittee both reviewed and approved this proposal, and then we just approved the invoice that this enables. So this increase would enable payment of that invoice.
Pretty clear on that, just how the two are tied together. All good? All right. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, and then we have already completed age 5 earlier in the meeting, so we should be all set there. Anything else in addition to that that we need to add tonight?
Nope, I think that's it, just that save your calendar for the November, I believe it's 5th.
Yeah, so just a few things, remember, sign up for the open house on the 26th. That should be in your email box, so please take a look at that and see what time you can give. And then it's the day after election. We'll do a virtual meeting that night, and we'll make sure we get that link out to you, so thank you, that's on your calendar as well. Any other questions, thoughts? Comments? Anything? All right, could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, and we will adjourn at 6:33.